Let's see what I learned in my first month of shopping for Instacart. Hello everybody, before I start, I just want to say thank you for all the support. I just started the channel, a month ago. I'm up to 40 subscribers, which is amazing to me. Lots of comments, lots of people on my Instagram account. I really appreciate it. I hope that the information I leave here is good for you. If I've been helping you, please subscribe. Please comment below with questions. I will be updating videos, try to do them regularly. So if you want notifications, hit the bell wherever the bell is. But this video, I wanted to go a little bit deeper into Instacart. I've been doing it for 30 days now, and I learned quite a bit. This could be used for beginners. This could be used for intermediate. There might be even some stuff that expert Instacart shoppers would learn in this. Now, just a disclosure, I've only been doing this for a month, but after 4 weeks, I was able to be in the top 25% of my area, and I got the $100 bonus, the 5-star bonus. So it does exist. It's hard to find. I couldn't find it anywhere, but I did receive it. It was nice. It was exciting. But let me just get into some of my tips and stuff. This is going to be similar to one of my top videos, which is Instacart, my first week review, or Instacart, my first day review. I'll put the link to first day here, and I'll put the link to first week here. So let's get into it. Where should I start? Let's start with setting up your phone and setting up your app before you start. So this is, if you don't want to be nervous all day, I highly recommend that you get a portable battery to plug your phone in. If you're going to do this full time, highly recommend a portable battery for your phone. I have links to those at DaveWtheThinker.com/recommendations. There's a couple of portable batteries, because if your battery dies, and I've had it happen once to me, it is nerve-wracking. My battery was being drained by the app super fast, and I couldn't fix it. And I'll tell you right now how to fix it. So first, before you start your shift, make sure you turn off your connections to Bluetooth, your connections to Wi-Fi. Next, turn down the brightness of your screen so that you can see it. You might not be able to see it outside in the sun, but inside the markets, you're going to be able to see it even when it's low in screen settings. Now, you might have to turn the screen setting up a little bit if the cashiers are going to be scanning with the laser the customer cards, like the rewards cards for customers that the app allows the customer to put in there. If you turn the brightness up, the cashiers will be able to scan it, but remember to turn it back down. Next, I turn on Do Not Disturb. And if you have a download program, the one that I use is CC Cleaner, I'll scan my phone ahead of time, fix everything, and then hibernate all the apps in the background. And lastly, turn on the battery saver for my phone. Now, the last thing, and they don't tell you about this, as you're using your Instacart app, it starts storing data in the background. So you need to go start your app up, go all the way down to the bottom, and hit Settings. When you hit Settings on the list there, I think it's called Logs or whatever, you're going to want to make sure you don't have a batch, first of all. Your app's not on when you're doing this, but the app, if you're not full service, you don't have a batch, hit Clean Batch, and then Check App. This cleans all the data out of your app. But if it's not there, your app is constantly communicating to sell your data, and it just drains your battery. My battery will usually stay to like 80 to 60% if I'm very careful and I'm constantly plugging it back into my car when I'm doing the drop-offs. If I keep that clean. If I don't keep that clean, my battery, even when it's plugged in, my phone won't charge. It's just draining my battery. And I did 2 shops one day, and my phone was on 50% of the first shop, and it died when I was going to the register for the second shop. I had to take a 20-minute break and then go home and plug my phone back in and then call support to have them help me figure out why the battery was being drained. Okay, so this brings me to the next step. The 20-minute breaks are not enough that the phone gives you, first off. So if you want to go do anything, 20 minutes is not enough to take a break and you only get one per shift. So if you work 4 hours, they give you a 20-minute break. And if you work 10 or 12 hours, you get a 20-minute break. So first off, what I would recommend is, well, you can't even take the break. So for me, mine's going on a Sunday. It's going ding, and as soon as I put delivered, ding, another one gets picked up. So there's no time to even hit that, take a 20-minute break button. So on Sunday yesterday, I worked from noon to 10 p.m. I decided to work straight through, so I put snacks in my car, water and drinks in my car. It was 100 degrees out. I don't use AC. So I was like, you're in the AC of the building, and then you're delivering the food real quick, and then you're just going back in the AC. So I like to just push through it. But if you're not like that, make sure you bring snacks and stuff. And if you need a break, you have to schedule your own break. So if you're working from noon time in the morning to 10 p.m. at night, for instance, you might want to schedule yourself an hour off where you don't have hours between maybe 5 and 6 or 6 and 7. That way, it'll go. The app will say you're not working. It'll log you out. You have a full hour to go do something, and then it'll log you back in. And when it first starts up, you could take a 20-minute break there. So you would get an hour and 20 minutes to take a break during the middle of your shift if you wanted to. So schedule shifts. So now let's go into working in the store and some things that I changed. So the stores are pretty cold. If you're starting to learn your stores, and you should do this. So this is the most important thing, because if you're intermediate now, you're going to want to start competing with the other Instacart shoppers in your area, and you're going to want to get your speed down and your rating up. So I think we have 66 Instacart shoppers here in my area. Last week I ranked number 11 after doing this only 4 weeks. So, I mean, I know it's just grocery shopping, but after 4 weeks, the techniques and skills that I'm sharing with you here are better than 50 other people in my area. Take that as you will, but I really want you to be successful. I don't know, it's just fun. I have fun teaching people. I talk to the people at the registers, and I tell them about my site and how they can make some extra money doing Instacart. But this is how I got my first couple of weeks. I was at like $145 per item. Then I dropped it to $138, and then to like maybe $20. And I was like, how are these people down in the single digits? We have some people at like 70. And I couldn't figure it out. So here are some tricks now to get that down. So first off, your speed is the time before when you start saying shopping, when you swipe start shopping, to when you hit checkout. Then there's a second speed from checkout to when you hit make the delivery. And then they take those two and put it together and give the speed. So using the app and not forgetting to use the app is very important when you're working to get this bonus. And the bonus is top 25%. The 5-star bonus is top 25% of your area. So if you have 100 people that shop in your area, and you can see this when you get your rating at the end of the week. If you have 100 people in your area, you need to be number 1 through 25, and you get a $100 bonus in your check. They immediately put it in your check for that week, and you get it directly deposited in check. So last week I made $460 something plus some cash tips, and I got a $100 bonus. So my direct deposit was $500 and something $560 something for around 20 hours of work. I was logged in a little bit longer than that, but I actually only did about 20 hours of work. Anyways, back to getting that rating down. So don't be lackadaisical with that. I used to be in my car and scan start delivery, and then when I'm walking into the store, that's counting towards my item discovery, which was hurting my rating. So now what I do is when I get to the store, I get a carriage, I go in. The first item on your list is always going to be produce. So I go to the produce section, I put my cart right next to the bags that you grab to put produce in, and then I swipe begin shopping. When it pops up, I scroll through my whole list and I look for how many items are going to need to be bagged. Is it going to be apples? Is there going to be plums, zucchini, peppers, whatever it is, and I count them, and as I count them, I grab that many bags. Then, depending on how big the produce section is, I put my cart in the middle of that section, and I look for the first item. I usually put my cart right next to a scale of some sort. So the produce sections are going to have either digital or old-fashioned manual scales on a chain that are hanging. Put your cart next to that. Then you can bang out and get the stuff. So if you're going to get avocados, you test your avocados, you put it in there, bam, back to the cart. I need six tomatoes. You grab them, say you got 6, it says what do they weigh. Now you're right next to your cart and you're right next to the scale. You weigh it, you put it in there, the next one. Now, you could get all that stuff, put it in there, and then weigh it, but if you mess up, then you have to kind of backtrack, and if you're disorganized. For me, I haven't tried that strategy yet. I've been doing this, and it's worked well enough. So next, I'm scanning through. You start learning the stores. My store has a separate natural food section, and the cold food goes around the outside because the freezers are in the back. So I kind of work my way around that part of the store first and look through the app. So I look through my whole list, and although they tell me what order is good, I treat it kind of like a video game or a scavenger hunt where I'm looking for these items, because sometimes you'll get lucky and they have a display of Oreo cookies for a promotion and you don't have to go to that aisle for it. So if you know that that's on your list and you remember and you see, you can scan it right there while you're in the meat section or whatever. Anyways, so the next thing I do is I look for if there's any butcher items or deli items that need to be made where I'm counting on other people to save my rating. So if you go to the deli and there's a huge line, you don't want to sit in the line for 20 minutes because that's ruining your rating. So most of the delis that I've noticed have digital screens in my area where I can place an order. So after I'm done with the produce, I head over to deli if there's items on there, and I order everything digitally, and I hit, bam, go, order that. I continue shopping. Now I'm listening to the loudspeaker, and they'll say, order number 52 for Dave is ready in the deli aisle. So now I know my order's there. I can pick it up when I'm done with that, and I can continue to do my shopping throughout the supermarket. That's also saving me lots of time. Now, the next thing I was doing is I was constantly bringing my carriage with me everywhere I went. I wasn't pushing it, which is another thing. If you run into some other Instacart shoppers, you'll notice a lot of them stand in the front, and I do this, and you hold the front of the carriage. I was doing this before I noticed them doing it. It allows you to move quickly, go around the corner, and look and pull your carriage behind you. It gives you more speed, more flexibility when you're in the aisles. And if you don't have huge orders, the carts are a little bit easier to control once you get used to it from the front. Now, next. So instead of running up and down an aisle, in some aisles you will have to go down, or if you're picking up heavy sodas, you want to push your cart down those aisles. But if I need like one mac and cheese in this aisle and one pasta sauce in this aisle, I don't take the cart down there, get this and scan it, come back and then scan it. I leave my cart on the end of those two aisles. I go down the pasta aisle, I grab the pasta, and I make sure I scan it there. Even if I'm really confident that it's that item, I scan it there, because if the app doesn't recognize, or if I mess something up, like it's not gluten-free, or I'm getting a pack that's a little bit bigger, I don't want to have to run back down that aisle. So I scan it there. If it scans, I bring it with me. I don't go to my cart. I go right around to the next aisle. I grab the other one. My cart's at the end, and bam, I put them in my cart. I go to the next section. If you get used to leaving your cart in the store and coming back to it, it's a lot quicker. Now, here's something you need to remember. Once you get comfortable leaving your cart behind, you got to make sure of a couple things. One, other people aren't putting stuff in your cart. I've had a couple incidents where I go to get my cart and somebody put like frozen spinach, and I was like, my customer didn't order frozen spinach, and I noticed it at checkout. And I remember not shopping for that, so I pulled it out. somebody might have said, oh, I don't need this anymore, and they thought that that left behind cart was maybe the store cart where you leave old food, or maybe they thought it was their cart and they accidentally put it in there, and then I took off with it. So who knows? So if you're going to leave your cart behind, be, mindful of your cart being left behind. Be mindful of the items in there. Be mindful people aren't taking items out or putting items into it. Usually people aren't going to take stuff out of it. I mean, that'd be kind of strange, but they definitely might put stuff into it. So be very wary of that. So next, as you're going around and you're picking items, one thing with replacements that I realized is you're better off manually putting a replacement in. So here's the example. If I go to get 80% ground beef, 20% fat, or whatever it is, and it says that right on the thing, I have it, and I scan, even though it's store brand, the barcode might be different, and it doesn't realize that. So then it says that's the wrong item. So then you say, okay, replace it. And then it gives you a list of replacement, and you're looking through the replacement list, trying to figure out which one it is. You're wasting time. Go all the way to the bottom, go, none of these work, and then scan your replacement manually and put the pounds in there. I do this with everything now. So if somebody wants like a particular type of fruit chews or fruit roll-ups, and they don't have like mixed berry, and I'm going to offer them strawberry. Strawberry might be the first one on the list, but I don't care. I hit none of these works, and I scan that strawberry manual. The reason I do this is I know that what I'm scanning is going to go in there as a review first time. Whereas if I pick a secondary review item, a suggestion, it might not match what I scan, and I'm wasting time looking and rereading that list and then getting a bad scan again. And we got some birds in the background here, so I'm outside in the woods. I'm having a nice day, a relaxing morning. I got to film this when it's been 100 degrees here, so I got up early, came out here into wilderness when it was cool. It's 80 degrees at 8:45 in the morning, so it's not that cool. But anyways, when you're doing the reviews, when you're doing the replacements, don't overthink it, because you can go back to them during the reviews. So if it's, an ice cream and they want like a slush that's lemon strawberry and they don't have it, immediately just go to none of these work and pick the next best one yourself and scan it. Don't look for that list, because it's a waste of time. So those are all ways that I sped up the shopping process of getting items, is going in that particular order. So next, you'll start to learn the store too. So don't trust the order of the app. In some of the stores in my area, the natural section's in the beginning, and then it puts the natural section foods at the end of the list. And I have to run across the entire store to get that. So I get familiar with my list, so I'm not wasting that extra time. Next, if you look at your entire list before you start shopping and you don't know where something is in the store, when you see a representative, you can ask them. And once you start getting used to the representatives in the store, you can ask representatives that you know are good and helpful. Because I've run into some representatives that you know more about the store than they do. And as an Instacart shopper, I've actually stopped and helped some people in the store, because you get to learn these stores so well. Next. So as soon as you're done reviewing, or if you have to call the person, whatever, immediately go to checkout, and then go to checkout. And I was going to registers with individuals that were working the cashiers. If you're familiar with self-checkout and you know how to use self-checkout, if you don't know how to use self-checkout, get used to self-checkout. Self-checkout is your best friend in the entire world as an Instacart shopper. I shaved 30 seconds off of my entire thing. I went from 130 down to 30. I went from 130 down to 100 with my speed check, just by not any of those extra things that I did there, just by self-checkout. The reason why is you go to the self-checkout line, usually there's one empty. You go there and you can be like, bam, 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 scan, scan, scan. You bag yourself. And as soon as you've scanned all those items and it gives you the thing to go to deliver, do that. Even if you're in the store, do that. because that ends your shopping experience in the store for your rating. So you shopped, you go to checkout, you scan. As soon as you're done, scan the receipt, go to delivery, and then pack your items up in the store. That extra time, if you don't do that, gets tacked on to your checkout experience. Now, I forgot to do that a couple times, which kind of ruined my rating, but I'm still in the mid 80s. So I think last week I got the bonus by being in the 70s. I forgot to do that a couple times this week, so I'm like at 85 seconds for my speed. And it's still a great speed. I've probably dropped from 11 in my territory, gone to probably like 18 or 19. So I'm still in competition for the 5-star bonus. I'll keep you updated, obviously, on my Instagram account. So go over there. I'm also putting tips. So after all that's done, when I'm scanning the items out too, here's the next thing that makes my job really easy, makes it easier for me, and why I like self-checkout compared to have somebody do it for me. I'm like, okay, here we go. Frozen items. Scan. I do all the frozen items. Meat. Scan. Produce. Scan. I do it all in the orders that I want, and then when I'm bagging them, it makes it very easy for me to compartmentalize and bag them. I've had multiple customers say to me, this is the most organized Instacart shopping I've ever had done. I can't believe this. And the reason why is because I'm scanning stuff out. I'm scanning in an order. So when I'm packing it in order. So it's in bags in order. And then when I bring it to my car, then I'm putting it in the insulated bags in that particular order. And then when I drop it off to them, I usually put the eggs in my front seat. I knock the door. I say, here you go. Here are your eggs. I didn't want them to get damaged. Let me get the rest of your stuff. Then I come and bring the heavy drinks and water, put it on the steps. I grab the meat and the ice cream. I said, here's your meat. Here's your ice cream. And it's separated like that. They know that I kept the ice cream cold in this insulated bag separate. Here's your meat. It's separate from everything else. Here's your produce. Here's your snacks. And I'll say, we were able to find a great replacement for whatever. I try not to dwell on the bad stuff. And I've gotten a lot of compliments that way. I think I'll probably put them up. I got some long compliments. Let me take a second here to read this compliment. This lady loved me. She made this long list. This is the lady I think that I got white tulips for. That was a really amazing experience. So those are some basic tips on how to get your speed up and how to do the shopping different from my other 2 videos. Because really what you want to do is if you can get that bonus. Last week I made $463 in 20 hours worth of work, but I was logged in for probably 30 hours. So when you first log in, there's like an hour of dead time, and then there's maybe 5 to 10 minutes of dead time between some of the orders during the week. That kind of gets shaved off. But with that bonus, it popped it up to $563 for 20 hours. So that was like $28 an hour with the bonus. So it's really nice to get. So I'm doing this off the fly. I don't write any of this stuff down. So I'm trying to think of the next thing that I want to talk about. Okay. So this part of the shopping thing, you want to get used to the customer service and calling shopper help. So a couple people have tried to do these weird scams, and I'm not sure if they're scams. When I'm in the store, they're asking me to add stuff, and then they're approving reviews, and then afterwards they mark in my rating thing that I made a bad replacement or I added items that they didn't want. So I talked to customer support, and they said this is not hurting my overall rating per se. The individual might put it bad, but those marks aren't. But a good habit that I've got into, if anything sounds sketchy, I immediately call Instacart and I explain it to them, and they read the notes about the people, and they make notes in case that stuff gets deleted in the case so they can see it. And I've had a couple blemishes removed that way. So there's 2 Instacart numbers. Let me put them right here for you. Put these into your contact list. You want to be able to call Instacart whether or not you're logged into the app. Maybe your app crashes and you need help. I actually had an incident where I was out of GPS location. I couldn't get any cellular data, and I arrived to this complex. It was 164 something street, but they had hundreds of units in there, and I had to go to one of the units on the second floor, but I couldn't remember which one it was. I was able to call Instacart. They were able to look it up. I dropped the groceries off to the right unit, and then when I left, I got back into range, and my app started working. So that was very helpful. So next, I lost my early access status. So the early access status is either 90 hours during the week or 25 hours during the weekend over a 3-week period of time. And if you scroll down to the bottom of where you get your hours, there's early access. You hit on that. It opens up your early access status, and it shows you how far along you are on the grid. It's important to keep this because if you want to do this full-time and make money, or if you want to do it a little bit more than part-time, less than full-time, and make money, you want to be able to get the hours that you want, the flexible hours that you want, and you have to do that by going Sunday morning at 9 a.m. in your time zone to pick those hours up. And they go quick. When I pick up my hours Sunday morning at 9 a.m., by 9:03, they're starting to go. So I try to do my 25 hours. I do 2 12-hour days on the weekends, and then all I have to do is do 1 hour the following week. But I'm constantly doing at least 10 hours on Saturday, 10 hours on Sunday every week. And then I'm still working during the week, but I'm trying to get my early access status via the weekend schedule. So it might get a little bit slow and offer you to leave early. So, for example, yesterday I worked from noontime to 10 p.m. At noontime, I didn't have any orders. By 12:45, I had my first order, and I worked until about 9, and I wasn't getting any more orders. I went home, and the app said, would you like to log out because it's slow? Now, in the past, I was like, yes, let's log out because it's slow. Well, what happens is, if you were going to work from 12 to 10 and do a 10-hour shift, and you log out at 9, you only get 9 hours towards your early access status. This is how I lost my early access status. So now I don't accept that anymore. I'll just sit around at home for an hour not getting any orders because I want to log that hour for my early access status. Because if not, you have to log in on Wednesday and then compete with people again for the extra hours, and they go just as quick. But you have to log in at 9 a.m. They're gone by 9:03. And if you don't get enough hours, you don't make enough money, but also you don't make enough hours to log for the early access status, so you're always stuck on Wednesday, and it just becomes this perpetual wheel of the rich getting richer. The people can get more hours first thing Sunday morning, so it's easier for them to get early access status. The people that have to wait for Wednesday get less hours. They're less desirable hours, and then you might not make your status. So I lost it for 1 week, had to get some on Wednesday, and then of course I forgot to look them up on Wednesday, so I didn't work all last week. I just started again this week. Now, I didn't realize that I missed my hours because I wanted to tell you the week is like a normal week. It goes from Sunday to Saturday. So when you're working a Saturday 10-hour shift, and then you're working the next day, Sunday, those 2 12-hour days don't go towards your 25 hours. If you work a 12-hour day on Saturday, that goes for the 3 weeks before, and then the next day you work on that Sunday, that goes for the following 3 weeks. And that's where I miscalculated my hours. So when you go to your past hours and you're calculating for your early access status, not just what they're telling you, but how you're trying to plan for the future when you're marking these hours, remember that it ends on Saturday and then starts back up again on Sunday. I made that mistake. It's pretty obvious, but I just didn't think about it because in my mindset, I'm like, this is a weekend. I'm working 24 hours or working 20 hours, 2 10-hour days. It's going to go through for my 3 weeks. And actually, no, 10's going for this week, those 3 weeks in the past, and this is going for the 3 weeks in the future. Bear with me. I was thinking about one more thing. I don't know. I guess I'll have to make another video because I can't think of anything else. I think everything that I mentioned here is really going to help you out. It's really going to help you fine-tune your Instacart. Remember, treat this like a business and you'll get rewarded as if it's a business. If you treat this like a job, you're going to get rewarded as if it's a job. Even though some of the customers can be picky, even though some of the customers, when you're shopping for them, you know that they're going to give you a bad review, they're being super demanding. Stay polite, stay nice, because you're going to get great customers that give you great reviews. Treat it like a business. Don't treat it like a job, because there is a lot of money to be made here. I don't know what everybody else is making. I'm not constantly making $28 an hour. I'm also not working 40 hours a week. Oh, I remember what I wanted to say. Use either your iOS calendar or your Google Calendar and chart when you're working for Instacart in there when your shifts come up. So, for instance, if I'm going to work Monday, today, I work from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. doing Instacart. Then after that's done, if I leave early or if they give me an extra hour, I change what that looks like. And then I also go into the notes, and I've just been putting some notes about the shift to remind myself. This way, when I'm scheduling my Amazon Flex, or if you're scheduling your Uber and Lyft, or whatever, your main job or your part-time job, say you have a flexible schedule in your 9-to-5 job, you could put all your schedules into your calendar and let them flow. But for me, in order to get better, it's good to see what you were doing, and then you are tracking your own hours. So I even put in my notes now, after I made that error, I'll put, okay, I worked Monday from 2 to 5 p.m. It went well. I did a lot of Whole Foods, just deliveries. This is X amount of hours total for and figuring things out. Oh, I think I ran out of space. So maybe I ran out of space, maybe I didn't. So that's probably a sign to end this video. I just started my car up. Have a great day, everybody. Like and subscribe.